Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
All right, folks, that is bombshell breaking news in the form of unearthed footage of Jeffrey Epstein, disgraced financier and sex trafficker who died in 2019 in federal custody on Donald Trump's watch when he was president the first time. This footage being unearthed, of course, by Midas Touch, showing that when asked, hey, did you socialize with underage girls with Donald Trump in the presence of Donald Trump? He pleads the fifth. This is a stunning escalation in the ongoing Epstein-Trump scandal, and it's only going to make things worse for Trump. It makes him look even more disgusting and nefarious. And to whatever extent people are giving him the benefit of the doubt, which is absurd in the first place, that benefit is shrinking and people are reacting to this viscerally. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, there's been a lot of footage and a lot of videos about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein involving the two of them partying back in the 80s and 90s, late 90s. This is by far, of all the footage we've seen, that is by far the most sinister and the most damning, okay? I will remind you what Donald Trump himself famously said about people who plead the fifth, like Jeffrey Epstein did in response to that question.
So there are 5 people taking the Fifth Amendment, like you see on the mob, right? You see the mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
So by Donald Trump's own logic, Jeffrey Epstein pleading the fifth it implicates him. And I suppose, just given the nature of the question, also confers guilt upon Trump, doesn't it? By Donald Trump's own logic? This is terrible for Trump. This is terrible for the MAGA base that is trying desperately to be loyal to Trump. And we'll see some of the reactions in a moment. But as Mediaite reports, Epstein asked if he'd been with Trump and women under 18 in a shocking video. The anti-Trump Midas Touch posted a stunning video of then-alive sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein being asked if he's ever been with Donald Trump and women under the age of 18, females under the age of 18, because by definition they're not women unless they're adults, after the clip aired on ABC News. The Trump administration's attempt to bury the so-called Epstein files is now in its 3rd week, and the heat just keeps going up. Midas Touch founder and host Ben Meiselas has been doing his part to turn up the heat by digging up clips that paint Trump as a sex creep and going after Trump on his podcast. Fair game. On Wednesday night, just after the new bomb that Attorney General Pam Bondi told Trump he was in the Epstein files in May, Midas Touch posted a clip from a March 17, 2010 deposition that had been previously reported. But this footage has not been widely circulated. The video is racking up hundreds of thousands of views on social media and was also aired on ABC News World tonight. The deposition was first reported in a 2016 Vice article that included the contents of a phone book the FBI obtained. So this is now getting new life in context. It's resurging in light of the latest Trump-Epstein development. So let's take a look at how people are reacting to this on X, Twitter. You have, of course, the Midas Touch, Brian Krasenstein weighing in. Epstein asserts his 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights when asked if he'd socialize with Trump. ACYN is pointing out, Libertarian Party, Epstein pled the 5th when asked if he and Trump were ever socialized in the presence of females under 18. Wow. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's amazing that we have video of Epstein pleading the 5th on him and Trump socializing, and it was never used during the 2016, 2020, or 2024 elections. The Epstein files, this is anonymous, the hacker group, are classified because it exposes the real deep state. Newsflash, Trump is in the swamp. He is the deep state. Why would Epstein plead the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments when asked if he and Trump were socializing in the presence of females under 18? Who was he protecting? Wow. Again, folks, this is just This is Trump's nightmare, just an utter nightmare for him. And it was already bad enough. And he has been scrambling to try to deflect, and distract from this. And it's all backfiring. It's all backfiring. Mediaite reporting on it, of course. It's everywhere. And it'll be interesting to see how MAGA influencers grapple with this, especially when you pair it with what Trump has famously said on the record about the Fifth Amendment. Now, of course, Donald Trump himself, when being deposed after that statement, why are you pleading the Fifth if you're innocent? He has pled the Fifth literally hundreds of times since saying that. So again, monstrous hypocrite, implicated time and time again by his own logic. But these two clips in conjunction, they're damning for him. And it's trending everywhere. Trump named in Epstein files as judge rejects disclosure. You have friend of the show, Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk, talking about this. Brian Tyler Cohen and others as well. Yeah, folks, Trump's polling on the Epstein situation is by far his worst performing. And now he's benefiting in the extent that it's a relatively low salience issue compared to the economy or immigration. But the poll numbers are only going to get worse from here. And it just doesn't show any sign of relenting. Dave Smith, a Trump voter, a man who supported Trump, voted for Trump in the 2024 election, defended Trump in multiple high-profile debates. He's laying into Trump over this shit, just laying into him. Now, you have people like Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican congresswoman, and Don Jr., obviously Charlie Kirk as well, who are scrambling to change the topic, change the subject. But it is not working. It just isn't working. Again, this thing is trending on social media, and this happened. This video was unearthed again by Midas Touch last night. So it's not even 24 hours, and this is just going to be everywhere. MAGA morons, you've been duped, says this guy on Twitter, Goog Dillmore, when Epstein was asked at 2010 deposition if he'd ever socialized with Trump. Yeah. I'm scrolling here just to get a sample, I suppose, of how people are reacting to this. And I mean, again, it's just being circulated. Again, I suppose technically, this still doesn't fully implicate Trump, right? But damn, it that benefit of the doubt that so many MAGA Republican politicians and MAGA Republican voters are clinging to is just eroding in real time. The more videos like this come out, and the latest developments from the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal, of course, we did a couple of videos about this yesterday, and we mentioned it just a few minutes ago. That Attorney General Pam Bondi told Trump in May that he was in the Epstein files. Now, some people are saying, well, obviously he was in the Epstein files. He was in the flight logs. But if the reporting on this is true, and not just that Pam Bondi told Trump this, but also that FBI Director Kash Patel had been telling government officials that Trump is in the Epstein files, they clearly mean something more than what was already publicly disclosed, right? Because if the idea is, well, we know from what little public disclosures there have been, Trump is listed in the flight logs at least 7 times, that's what they're talking about, then why would Pam Bondi tell Trump? Trump already knows he's listed in the flight logs. Why would they meet with him to say, hey, you're in the Epstein files, unless he was listed substantively and substantially more than what we know about, in ways that she felt Trump needed to know about, and in ways that, according to the reporting, FBI Director Kash Patel felt the need to tell others in the government about? Is it something that necessarily implicates criminal activity? No. But it sure suggests politically and reputationally damaging stuff about Trump in the files. Otherwise, why would he be briefed? Why would Kash Patel think that this is something worth discussing? This is a shit show. It's backfiring on Trump spectacularly. And this bombshell footage, which again was unearthed by Midas Touch, is recirculating again. This looks absolutely terrible for Trump, which is one of the many reasons why, quite frankly, you should share it along with this video. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.